This was needed. Regardless of if you're rooting for the Raptors to win, lose, keep the draft pick, whatever it is, this game was needed for the Toronto Raptors on a 15-game losing streak to not have a historically bad sort of stretch of games. And regardless of winning culture, regardless of what you're looking for to build this team, for half the roster is going to be on the team by the time next season rolls around, regardless of all that, we got to see Emmanuel Quickley, RJ Barrett back out there on the court with Gary Trent Jr. and look like an NBA team. Because the Raptors have been running a 905 level squad out there in the lineups for the last month. So having an actual sort of NBA competent team with some of our young rising stars out there on the court and getting a win against the number 2 seed in the Eastern Conference is a huge thing to close out this year and not having a historic losing streak. Now, we'll break down how it impacts the draft pick and all that stuff in this video, but I want to get it out there at the start. This was needed and this was a positive. We also have a Bronny James update to discuss in this video, so lots of stuff to sink our teeth into. But over 51% of our viewers are not subscribed to the channel, so make sure you subscribe to the channel if you guys want to stay up to date with all the latest Toronto Raptors news. A bit late on this sort of reaction, but I've been dealing with a bad flu, a little sick for the past last 24 hours or so. So we're getting to it here now, feeling a burst of energy. But let's dive in, because the Toronto Raptors have reminded us all of what this team could potentially look like when we actually have our NBAers out there in the lineup. Now, I've seen a lot of people criticize Masai Ujiri, the roster construction, all those types of things in the second half of this year. But one trade that I think should not be one criticized, and rather should be hyped, should be gassed up, should be all that, was the acquisition of RJ Emmanuel Quickley, as well as that second round pick for OG Anunoby Precious and Malachi Flynn. Because, frankly, RJ Barrett and Emmanuel Quickley both look like players have star potential in this NBA. Now, Precious has been awesome for the Knicks. Obviously, we know what OG Anunoby can do. Still with some injuries and stuff, which the Knicks are certainly feeling right now with his elbow stuff. Hopefully, he's back for the playoffs. Always rooting for OG Anunoby, but we know his injury history. Also, a guy that's a free agent that's probably going to be making $150 million on his next contract. But RJ Barrett and Emmanuel Quickley both look like guys that are steals for this Raptors group. I mean, particularly RJ. We knew kind of quickly. Quickly was kind of the piece that most people were excited about, most gassed up about, when that deal ended up going down. But RJ Barrett, frankly, especially with Scotty Barnes going down with injury, has been our best player by a large margin since he's been on the Toronto Raptors. I mean, in last night's game, again, not the most efficient night, didn't make a ton of threes, 104 from the three-point line, but had 26 points in this one, 7 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals, 1 block. 5 turnovers, but I mean, RJ Barrett's just been a consistent scoring threat. He's relentless at attacking the rim, and even during games where, again, the Raptors' morale, it's been down. At least our energy out there on the court, everything sort of has looked a step slow for the second half of the year. RJ Barrett now with a couple of games under his belt, back into the rhythm, just takes his team's sort of energy, takes his team's sort of effort level to the next level when he's out there on the court. And I can't speak enough about how RJ Barrett has really exceeded my expectations, has me hyped up, and has me reminded why I'm pretty excited for this team going forward in the future. Masai Ujiri can piece together the right type of lineups, piece together the right complementary players around RJ, Scotty, Emmanuel Quickley and stuff, because we have a core group of young talent that looks really good. Regardless if we keep our draft pick this year or not, RJ Quickley and Scotty Barnes are three young guys that look like bona fide stars going forward. And Quickley also should be discussed in this one because IQ, 25 points in last night's game, 14 and 15 from the free throw line, was getting to getting the paint, getting fouled a ton, really abusing Damian Lillard. I mean, Dame obviously is an elite guy and had a bunch of points himself in last night's game, 36 points. Yeah, Damian Lillard's a beast, but defensively looks a step slow, and Emmanuel Quickley made him pay in last night's performance. I mean, 14-15 from the free throw line, 4-12 from the field, but was just getting buckets in the lane so often. I mean, also had 11 rebounds, 9 assists, nearly a triple-double. I mean, IQ and RJ Barrett, the future of this team, looks very, very bright with both of those guys in there in the lineup on this squad. So it's nice to be reminded of those things, with actual visual stuff, because you can lose sight of it when we have too many guys in the G League playing against NBA level competition. You get a bit jaded. So nice to see the Raptors recover that win streak behind those two guys, and obviously Gary Trent Jr., who his future's unknown with this team. But again, Gary, he has nights like this where he shows you his potential. 31 points, 7 threes in this game. Again, Gary Trent Jr. can just explode at that scoring spot. His whether or not he returns is probably going to be determined whether or not the Raptors can get him at an affordable price. But Gary Trent Jr. again has these performances, has these games, which really sort of swings you back on the pendulum. Looking at this guy like, hey, that's our star boy. That's Gary Trent Jr., who I'd like to see still in the team. I'd like to see Gary back, but again, it all depends on the price tag, whether or not we'd have to go over the $20 million per year margin and all that stuff. So shout out to Gary Trent Jr. for having a really solid performance. Olynyk was back. Nice to have an NBA level big man in there as well. I mean, Malik Williams was signed, didn't score in his first game, didn't score last night, which sucks, but it looks good. Abaji back in the lineup as well. Didn't do too much out there, on the scoring side of thing, but defensively really brought it. Got some rebounds. He's been playing out of position for this group as well. I want to see him actually run the guard spot. Use his strength and size in that sort of area, but had the highest plus minus of the Toronto Raptors last night, so can't be down about that. But the bench definitely didn't do too much. Grady Dick coming off the bench, 10 points. That was a positive, but the rest obviously, the lineups that we've been running out there for the past little while with the rest of the bench unit still aren't thriving. But nice win. Nice to not have a historic losing streak on our hands. And just a good reminder for Raptors fans that we have some exciting things to look forward to in the future. But the next thing we're taking a look at is a major Bronny James update. Now, of course, if you've been following this whole situation, this whole area, the Raptors have been linked to Bronny James multiple times over the course of the season. I mean, what's it called? Raptors among teams scouting the superstar Bronny James. The Raptors and the Lakers are the two teams that really have been notably named as potentially interested in drafting or at least scouting Bronny James in the future. And news came out yesterday that USC freshman Bronny James is declaring for the 2024 NBA draft. James, who's 19, is also entering the NCAA transfer portal to maintain flexibility. The combo guard will work out for and visit NBA teams and make a draft decision based on evaluation. So teams are going to get a chance to look at Bronny James, see whether or not his game can translate to the NBA level. I mean, his stats don't really warrant him declaring for the draft or anything along those lines, but also had a tumultuous year, dealt with some health scares, all those types of things. I mean, he's a shooter, a spot-up shooter. He's not going to create a ton for himself, but the efficiency wasn't there really last season either. 27 points per game, but can facilitate, can play defense, could be a really good role player if all things come together. But again, as a smaller sort of guard, which we'll see how he develops. We'll see how it all shakes out, but I'm interested to see how the storyline plays if he gets drafted by the Raptors, because I don't know, is this a ploy to get LeBron? Is storylines? I don't know. We don't have any late second round picks really at this point. We have that 30s, but I don't know. Do you guys want to see the Raptors draft Bronny James? Let me know in the comment section down below, but you guys are the best thing this far. Subscribe to the channel if you guys haven't already. I really got to sneeze, so I'll sign it out. Cheers.